Hi, my name is Aiden. I would like to tell you about my family tree illustrating 10 degrees of separation, including my fourth cousin, and the regions we traveled. I was born in the 2000s. I am the 0 degree of separation. My DNA is 100%. I live in the USA. Each generation before me, I share only one half of their DNA. My parents, Mr. and Mrs. Tyler, born in the 1970s, living in the USA, is my first degree of separation. I share 50% of each of their DNA. My grandparents, Mr. and Mrs. Davis, born in the 1950s, living in the USA, is my second degree of separation. I share 25% each of their DNA. My great-grandparents, Mr. and Mrs. Collins, born in the 1930s in Guyana, South America, is my third degree of separation. I share 12.5% of their DNA. I taught my great-grandma how to play miniature golf. My great-great-grandparents, Mr. and Mrs. Williams, born in the 1850s, living in Guyana, South America, is my fourth degree of separation. I share 6.25 of their DNA. My great-great-great-grandparents, Mr. and Mrs. Williams, born in the 1760s, lived in Barbados, West Indies, is my fifth degree of separation. I share 3.125% of their DNA. My great-great-great-great-great-grandparents, Mr. and Mrs. Williams, lived in Great Britain, United Kingdom, is my sixth degree of separation. I share 1.56% of their DNA. Now back to my great-great-great-grandparents. They had two sons who married in the 1850s. The Williams name carried on. One was my great-great-grandfather, whose genealogy we just went over, and the other was my great-great-granduncle. My great-great-granduncle, Mr. and Mrs. Williams, who lived in Barbados, West Indies, is also my sixth degree of separation. I share 1.56 of his DNA. My great-granduncle, Mr. and Mrs. Williams, who migrated to Guyana, South America, is my seventh degree of separation. I share 0.78% of his DNA. My grandaunt, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, who lives in the USA, is my ninth degree of separation. I share 0.39% of her DNA. And lastly, my fourth cousin, B.A. Jones, who lives in the USA, is my 10th degree of separation. I share 0.195% of his DNA. And that is my family tree to the 10th degree.